Hey, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to do something I've tried before, I'd never heard about until this year, and I loved it. A lot of people can potatoes, and I've canned a lot of potatoes in the past, but never like I'm going to show you now. Like I say, I'd never heard of it until this year. But it's the only way I will ever do potatoes. Okay, I'm down to the nitty-gritty of potatoes. I've been peeling potatoes for a while. I didn't figure you guys wanted to watch me peel like 30 or 40 pounds of potatoes. You're welcome. I've got these last two little ones that I dug out. You peel them normally like you always do. You can cut these into any size shape that you want. I have to make some workspace. I happen to have a French fry cutter. Okay, if you have one, that's fantastic. If you want to cut them in slices, if you want to hand cut them into different cubes, or just big chunks, or even in halves of ones this size. I'm just going to put my potato in there, slice it. Okay. This is what those look like. I definitely have some longer slices from larger potatoes that I have cut up previously. I have put them in a pot that I have had water with about a cup of lemon juice in there. And I'm going to let them soak for about an hour. Then I'm going to rinse off all the lemon juice and all the potato starch. And that is how it turns out to be so much different from anything that you've had before. Have you ever heard of dry canning? I have heard of it before, but the way I had heard of it previously was where you put flour, oatmeal, and stuff like that in an oven and bake it and then seal it that way. Well, this definitely is not that. I'm going to put in my pint wide mouth jar. It has to be a wide mouth, it's much easier. I'm going to put a half teaspoon of salt in each one of my jars. My canner will hold 8 of the wide mouths in the pint size. And I'm going to put about 1.5 teaspoons or so of butter into each jar. Okay, are you with me so far? It's not hard so far. And this is just how fast this comes together. I just took my jars out of the dishwasher, so they're definitely clean. Don't have to worry about that. And this is room temperature butter, so it's much easier to work with. Okay. This is some potatoes that I cut up just a little earlier today, and they have been soaking in the lemon water I was talking about. I've drained them and I've rinsed them, and I'm going to get a potato and I'm going to put it in my jar. No pre-boiling. That one's a little long, so just break it like a green bean. That's what you do on the long ones. Whenever you're doing the pints, we don't need it sticking up. But I'm just going to put these potatoes in here until I have the jar full. So far it doesn't seem that difficult, right? It's not. And when you take these out of the canner and use them, you are going to be amazed at the flavor. They're not watered down. They look pretty. They stay firm. You can use them in anything that you normally would use potatoes in. One of my sons asks for these on a regular basis. We love them fixed at breakfast. After I get done fixing my bacon or my sausage, I will just get a lot of the grease out of the pan. And I will dump this, just pop a top on a jar and dump it straight in. Okay, I think I just about have that as full as what I can get it. Okay, so far so good, right? I have my ring and my flat. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wipe off the rim of my jar to make sure that there's no butter or potato or anything on there. And then I'm just going to screw it on. That's as simple as what it is. Nothing in there but butter, salt, and potatoes. I'm going to put it in my canner. I'm going to keep going until I get all 8 of these full. Then I'm going to process it. I'll show you when I get a little bit further along. I have my last jar filled and the lids put on there finger tight. You don't want to tighten them too much because that's how they seal. In the very end, after all the air is pushed out, then the lids pull down and seal. So I have it filled up to the recommended level with water. I have my white vinegar put in there. Why white vinegar? I have limestone water, and if I do not put white vinegar in my canners, then I'm going to have an ugly white film on my jars when they come out. So anytime you have hard water, it's always best to do that. Otherwise you have to clean them in vinegar when they come out. Myself, I'd rather save the time, dump about a half cup in there and not worry with it. Okay, now I'm just going to get the right side on my canner. It only goes on one way, folks. Sometimes it's easier than others to get it on. Only because I'm on camera. Okay, there we go. And you put it on and you bring it around until it locks. Okay, the only thing that I'm going to do is turn my gas stove on, bring this up to temperature, and whenever it comes to temperature, this little, let me get another one here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. When it comes up to temperature, this little thing right here will pop up. That means it's under pressure. If it's down, you're good. If it's up, you're under pressure. So just a tip, never ever ever open your canner or Instant Pot if it's under pressure, because it can explode and you can get serious burns. But anyway, back to my canning potatoes. I'm just going to bring that up to temperature and get it up to pressure and let it vent for about 5 minutes. That way it gets all the excess air out of my canner. Then I'm ready to put my weight on there. And then since these are half pints, I'm only going to process those for 30 minutes. When I do my quarts, I do those for 40 minutes. But I'll show you what they look like when they come out. Alright, the pressure has dropped on this canner of potatoes. As you see right here, this is flat. I have a second one going, which is still raised, so I cannot touch that one yet. Just reminding you, always be super, super, super careful, because it's hot. Ooh, did you hear that? That was 2 or 3 of them popping instantly, which is definitely a sound that I like to hear. That is absolutely beautiful coming out of the canner. Okay, guys, those will last for a very, very long time, canned, several years in fact. But one thing, you'll not find this type of recipe in your name brand canning book. Do your research and make sure that this is for you. I sometimes tend to be a little bit of a rebel canner, and I don't always follow every single guideline. This one is not one of the guidelines, but however, I feel this food is perfectly safe because it was processed. But you have to do what is best for you and your family. But for me and mine, we love them. I will continue to make these potatoes. And as you can see right here, I have my next batch prepped and ready to go into the canner. So, hey, as I said a second ago, I have more potatoes prepped for another canning. Well, as you see in here, I don't have enough jars to fill the canner. So what you do in that instance is you fill up ever how many jars you need with water and set them in there. That way, everything in there is not going to be rumbling around, banging against one another, and breaking your jars. It's not going to hurt these in the least. All you need to do is just take them out and wash them off right quick when you finish. But I just wanted to give you that little tidbit while it was on my mind. Okay. That is up close as to what they look like. I feel like I've had a very successful day today with my canning. I've got 14 quarts of the potatoes and 21 pints. But thanks for watching. You definitely need to try these if you're planning on canning potatoes, because this is the only way that I will ever can them in the future, and my family loves it. So look for you guys on the next video.